I'm going to try and tell you what we're trying to do in relation to some of these questions. And hopefully I will answer some of them, and I will answer some additional ones as we go through. One of the big ones is, how big is the problem? Well, there's lots of numbers that come out, aren't there? It's, 42 billion has been coming out from America, said now that cybercrime is bigger than the illegal drugs industry. Or do we know how big the illegal drugs industry is? So I look at it from a different point of view. What are the opportunities for criminality? And when we look that there's over 2 billion internet users by the end of 2013, the worldwide spend is looking to exceed $1 trillion, and I don't even know what $1 trillion is. All I know, it's a lot. But when we know that is, then we're going to follow what that criminal in America once said when asked, why do you rob banks? Well, because that's where the money is. So we know that people are going to be going online and they're going to be looking to either find information or find money and take it from us, members of the public, people who use in the internet, and that's basically all of us. So we've got Get Safe Online. Is it required? Well, I think it has been required. I think it's grown, but there are other initiatives which I'm going to talk about that we've seen as well. But it's important to have something where somebody can go and get the information that they need. The actual organisation is made up from government and the private sector. I'm not going to go through them all, but you can see there the people that are involved, and they're passionate. I'm passionate about the internet and being secure on the internet, but I'm glad to say these organisations are as well. Kaspersky are in the audience. They're passionate enough to come and turn up at this event and look at it. A number of others were going to come and are here as well. Creative Virtual, who produce the software that allows us to have an avatar, which is a fantastic piece of software on our website that will give you the information that you're looking for, and learns. And every week, every 2 weeks, any questions that come through and not answered properly, we will make sure they're updated. All the organisations that support us, and I could probably have 4 or 5 slides of organisations that support Get Safe Online. As Alan has said, we're non-for-profit and we're impartial. The most important thing for me and for Get Safe Online is our integrity, and that people can come to us to know that they're going to get good, honest, fair, impartial advice. And that's very important. And one of the reasons it's important is because we hear about all the bad news that's out there. It was discussed by Elizabeth about how you're going to hear all the horror stories. Yes, there are horror stories, but there are also some fantastic stories out there. And we ought to be letting people know that it's not all bad news, that it can be good news, that it's simple to be safe. And one of the things I went to an event a couple of months ago where one of the credit agencies was talking about 1 million pieces of data being compromised every day. 1 million pieces of data. I thought, wow, wow. And I said, how many bits of data are there out there? And they said, trillions of bits of data. So when you actually look at the percentage, it's relatively small. Now, I'm not saying that we should ignore the problem. It's there and we need to look at it. But if we were one step behind the criminal, we wouldn't be on the internet. We wouldn't use it. If when we park our car in a certain car park, it gets broken into, we wouldn't park our car there. If the internet was that bad, and the reason it isn't as bad as potentially it could be, is because a lot of us are making the right security decisions in relation to it. But I'm passionate about all the rest of the people doing it. And what I'm going to be talking about here is you helping Get Safe Online and passing this message out to help other people in the community. Children are important, yes. Silver surfers are just as important. Businesses are important. And that's what I'm going to try and talk about. Because for me, it's about a good news story. It's about get shopping, get banking, get watching, get dating, doing all these things positively and making it a good experience when you do it. It's about being engaging and being interesting. One of the problems that we've discovered is that security is boring. We've got to liven it up a little bit. We've got to get people to take notice about what we're actually trying to do. So who's at risk in what we're talking about? Well, it's all of us. It's everyone in the audience. It's all your friends, it's your colleagues, it's the people you work with, it's your children, it's your grandchildren, it's your parents. There isn't anyone that isn't affected by this. I only know one person that hasn't got a mobile phone, and that's my father, who's 87, who's a grumpy old sod and will never go that way. But that's what we've got to accept. But everyone else I know have got mobile phones. And I'm going to talk a little bit about mobile phones later. So we've got the people who are at risk, but what are they doing? Well, let's look at Jean. Jean is a retired teacher. She shops online. Does she take the little bit of advice about use a separate credit card when you're on there? Does she know about HTTPS? Does she know about the lock? Does she know about the simple little things that she ought to do? She's got grandchildren in Australia. Does she know potentially that if she hasn't got right software on her machine, there's a little Trojan that could turn her camera on when she's not aware of it? Does she know about those little things? She knows about her house. She knows when she leaves her house, she's got to lock the door, she's got to put the alarm on, and she's got to make sure all the windows are closed. Simple little precautions. Does she know the simple little precautions she's got to do when she's online? There's young Nina, junior doctor, clever girl, addicted to social networks, as my 3 daughters are, uses the internet for research and study. I'm not going to go into details of the social network because we all know what probably everyone should be doing, but we've got to educate them as to why they should be doing it. The research and study. Stephen, my comms director who's in the audience, was talking about a young lady about a year ago who'd taken an accountancy course online. She'd done it for 3 years and she paid something like £50 a month to do it. And at the end of it, she was expecting a qualification. It was a con. She was a single mother. She wanted to better herself. She forked out £50 a month. More to the point, 3 years of her life went down the drain there. She was devastated. So we've got to make sure of all the different things that are going on that we educate people about. David, man about town, thinks he's up there with his knowledge. He enjoys gaming. He synchronises his mobile phone to his PC. Has he got any pin on his mobile phone? Does he realise the consequences of what happens? And I'm going to talk a little bit about mobile phones later on as well. But important as well is Mike, who runs his own business. Has he heard of BYOD? Bring your own device to work. He does his finances online, but his company is growing and he needs other people to do his finances online. What sort of system should he put in place to safeguard his money from his employees going into his bank and doing things? What does he know about? We need to educate small businesses because small businesses are too busy running their businesses to worry about security, potentially. But I think it's a mistake and it's something we've got to educate about. So, do they know? Do they care? Is the attitude it's not going to happen to me? Because if that is the attitude, we've got to change it. And one of the ways of changing it is the new initiative that was launched that we are massive supporters of, which was on Monday, Cyber Street. And you're going to hear a little bit about Cyber Street from the man himself, Peter Wilson, who's going to speak to you a bit later on this morning. So I don't want to steal his thunder, but it's there to try and change people's behaviour. It's trying to get them to do things. If you go to their website, I think, if I'm right, 1/3 of their links come to Get Safe Online. But we welcome it. We think it's a great initiative and we support it. I've done a radio interview for them yesterday, but it's great and that's where people should go. So now we've got even more facilities that people can go to get the information, and no doubt you'll hear more from Peter a bit later on about it. But I said I'd talk about mobile life. Is there anyone in this room that hasn't got a mobile phone? Is there anybody that probably is no further than 3 feet away from their mobile phone at any point? And I know that that's the case because I looked at my mobile phone when I went to bed last night and it told me so because I was on the internet. The first thing I do when I go to bed, I'll wake up in the morning, I look at my mobile phone. The last thing I do is I set my alarm on my mobile phone. We're there and everyone else is there. And I think what you'd be amazed about is how young people are who use their mobile phone. And as an example, we went to a number of typical primary schools. This is particularly one. And we did some research in relation to how many people have mobile phones. 10 to 11-year-olds, 74% of them had mobile phones. 21 of them were smartphones. Going down the age group, fewer, because they're getting a bit younger. This amazed me. 4 to 5-year-olds had 2 mobile phones. They can't read. But they've got mobile phones. And they've got smartphones that go with them. It's automatic. People people look at me when I say, I've got a young granddaughter and she uses an iPad. Anyone surprised? No. She's 5 months old. Well, how does she use an iPad? Because I FaceTime her when I'm away. And she's sitting there looking at it and looking at Grandad. She's being brought up with mobile technology. It's there. And when we look at these kids, this is from a socially deprivated area in Cardiff. But what are they doing online? Well, they're playing games like Friv. I've never heard of Friv, or I hadn't up until then. They're on Facebook. What's the age limit for Facebook? 13. And Facebook don't educate children because no one should be on there under the age of 13. And they stick to it because of legal implications, apparently to do with the information commissioners. Hotmailing, YouTube, Google, boys tracking football scores, geolocation. Works both ways, though, in relation to geolocation and what they're doing. This slide I put up about 10 years ago when I was a police officer in the National High Tech Crime Unit. And there's only one thing on there that's basically changed, and that's smishing. Has anyone heard of what smishing is? It's phishing on your mobile phone. So instead of getting a phishing email, you get a phishing text that comes through. It's the only thing that changed. I was talking about these issues 10, 15 years ago. And they're now still as relevant now to mobile phones and to security as they were then. But we've got new threats. Rogue apps, stolen phones. Remember Mike, who links and synchronizes his mobile phone to his PC? Geolocation, high reliance. We are never further than 3 foot away from our mobile phones. We take them everywhere with us. We take them to the toilet. And the reason I know we take them to the toilet is because 100,000 fall down the toilet every single year. Don't ask me how I know that because of insurance figures. But that's where we take them, because people treat their mobile phones like bits of jewellery. They're attached to them. And because of that, they believe they're absolutely, completely safe. So they don't think about the security on it. They don't think about the PIN number. They don't think about the fact that it's in their bag, it's on the table when they go to a restaurant or to a pub, and how many are lost every year. And the number is huge. And if we're not securing them and we're synchronizing, we're giving away all our information. We can talk about whatever we want, but a simple PIN number will help us, especially now well over 50% of the population are using mobile phones to connect to the internet. And it's very true in relation to what we're doing. But there's even more new risks. And this one, I'm not going to make any comment about Paris Brown and what happened. If you remember, she was the first youth crime commissioner. But reputationally, she was destroyed as a result of what she'd put on social media. I spoke to the force that was involved in this, and they said, as a police officer, she would have got in as a police officer because she didn't have a criminal record. But she lost her job, not because of a criminal record, but because of something she did 5 years earlier. And it's gone with her. And I loved this story because I told my daughter, who was a junior nurse, but was putting all sorts of things on Facebook, and I said to her, it'll come back and bite you. And it's come back and bit Paris. It's definitely a fantastic learning opportunity if we can get that message across to people. We haven't forgotten business. We're linking up. We've got a very good section in relation to business. In fact, anything that you probably want to know about as a relatively small to medium business is on the website. And it's a fantastic resource, but we're not stopping there. We're doing some more work. We're moving forward. We're moving forward with Cyber Street and Biz in relation to doing a help centre. That's ongoing. We've got 2 additional companies that have come on board to help us do that and given additional funding. But it's something we're looking to do now, is to help the SMEs. Because as I said, SMEs are too busy. They're busy running their company. They're busy talking about health and safety, about the VAT returns, about the tax man. They really haven't got time. Trying to get to the SMEs is an absolute nightmare for us. You know, I've been involved in breakfast meetings. My colleagues have been in breakfast meetings. They don't turn up, they're too busy, they haven't got the time. We've got to reach them somehow though, because they make up a huge section of our business in the country. And I can't remember the percentage figures now, but it is massive what they are and what they're trying to do. The current website is up there and live. We're strongly pushing Cyber Street at the moment. We're up to date. You'll see maybe 1, 2 new news articles that go on every week. every day. This one is the warning about fake rugby tickets coming up, where we can move very, very quickly. We're a relatively small organisation internally, but I thought this launch was so important that I brought most of the guys with me, and I'd like to introduce them to you. From the comms director, Stephen Sharp. Stephen, stand up and let everybody know. What I'd like you to do, during the lunch and the coffee breaks, go up and speak to them. They've got to earn their crust somehow today. The editor-in-chief is Tim. An awful lot of the work that you see on the website and on the presentation that I'm going to talk about is there as well. And our content director as well is Rob. So anything you need to know, if you can't get to me, get to these guys. They probably know more than me anyway. They tell... See, they're just not... There's no control of them. No control. We've lost it, John. We've lost it. We're into social media. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. We link in with all our other partners in relation to it. We do Twitter chats a couple of times through the year, maybe 4 or 5 times with our partners. Very important for what we do. We have a campaign theme, which you can find on the website. These are the campaigns, or these are the themes for the website. Some of them are going to be campaigns. If they are campaigns, we're going to link in with other partners. We'll certainly, with all of them, be linking into Cyber Street in relation to it. But what you will always see is a different theme on the website in relation to what we're looking to do. Some we take forward and do campaigns. We're a small niche organisation, so we can't do all the campaigns we'd like to. We just haven't got the facilities or the money. But one of the campaigns we are doing, and we're very pleased about, is the police pilot campaign. We've gone to a number of police forces. In fact, there's a police force here that isn't named on there, but we're going to actually look to work with them as well, and that's Lincolnshire Police. And I think Stuart and Caroline are here now, who've come down to see what we're looking to do. This is a big thing for me. There's a number of things in the last 5, 6, 7 years since I was the CEO I've wanted to do. One of them is happening today, is launching this initiative, which I'm going to talk a little bit more about very shortly, to get the message out to people. But we're linking in with police forces to do very similar. What we're looking to do is to hit junior citizens and advise them in relation to it with the police force, and that's using all the partners that we have. So people like CEOPS. Will is in the audience. You're going to hear a little bit from ChildNet later on. But we want to use that to get in there. We also want to speak to senior citizens. Vital that we speak to senior citizens. Do you know, they're far more aware of security than probably any other part of society. They've lived their life skills. They know there's potential threats out there, and they're aware of it. And maybe they're not using the computers as much as them because they know that. Certainly when we've spoken to students and silver surfers, the awareness of security is 10 times higher than students. But we need to educate them so they can have the facility of using the internet. There's some fantastic opportunities for them. They can shop anywhere when they're even if they're slightly housebound and they can't get out. There are opportunities to go out. There are opportunities to communicate, to speak to new people, to liaise with people, to buy services, to goods, to just be part of what's going on out there. That they can talk to their grandchildren. And I'd love to be able to have children that can educate other children. Children that can educate their parents and grandparents. But grandparents who can educate their children as well. And there's no reason. I did pick up something that Elizabeth said, but you have a children's group, not a children's group, a young person's group. In relation to security, you mentioned young professionals. I'd love to get in front of them. They're the people I want to go out and speak to people. Not old farts like me. What am I going to do if I turn up to a bunch of 11-year-olds? I want their peers, the children who are a little bit older, maybe the 16-year-olds, 18-year-olds. But I also want silver surfers to go into schools and talk to them, because that works really well as well. The other one is business. We're linking in with the police in relation to business as well. A trainer-trainer session, as we've done with all of them, but giving them information and doing it locally. Now, where I think this will link in with what we're talking about with BCS will become clear in a minute, because I've got some big ideas about how this progresses and how we take it forward. So we're now looking at how to stay safe online, the initiative that we want to launch today with the BCS. And as I said, it's something that I've been looking to do for a number of years. We've created something called Event in a Box. So there you'll see leaflets, and on your chairs you'll see the leaflet, which is co-branded. There's a presentation, which I'm going to show you a little bit later on. There's roller banner stands that hopefully you'll be able to pick up if you're going to a big event and you want to use it. There's promotional giveaways, not a lot of those, but it's something that gets people to start thinking about what they should be doing. There's posters, there's interactive tools, there's support in other ways, support pieces that we're looking to do. So the monthly calendar you can see when you go there, you can actually know that there's going to be something on the website very specific for that particular month you might want to use. There'll be a very limited amount of PR support. Certainly we've spoken to the BCS, we've spoken to the team in relation to Get Safe Online, and hopefully Cyber Street as well will be involved in this and will be able to help us. The animated video that we're in the middle of writing right now. So there's a lot of things that you can take with you to educate. And what I want you all to do is go out, pass this message on. There might be a school that you know that wants this information. There might be a group of silver surfers. There might be a church group that you can go to. It might be a small group of businesses. It doesn't matter. And what I want to do is link what we're doing here with the police. So the police might get a request and they may not have the resources to do it. What I'd like them to do is then turn to us and BCS and say, have you got any members in this area that can go out and deliver a presentation? And I want that to grow. I want all the BCS members to be... I know a lot of BCS members and they all want to make a difference. They all do. There's very few that I've ever met, if any, that say not interested in helping other people. Of course they do. They all want to make a big difference. This is giving you the tools in order to make that difference. With the actual presentation, very difficult. I think there's over 60 slides in the presentation that we're going to give to people to take out. It doesn't mean that they're going to be there for 2 hours talking about this. They can pick out the stuff that they want and they don't want. I know, because I deliver presentations all the time, I cannot deliver anyone else's presentation. I can only deliver my presentation. So we want to give people the opportunity to change it around so they deliver it the way they want to deliver it. Maybe change around the sequence of where it's done. Maybe a set of presentations for children, different one for silver surfers. Same messages, maybe just a different tone of voice. So what we've got a number of headings, and I haven't gone through all of them, but these are the main headings. Protect your computer, protect yourself. Smartphones, shopping, safeguarding children, social networks, and other things. I wanted to give you a flavour about what's in those particular groups. And I've done it just with one, and I've taken half the slides out. But the sort of things that we're looking to do is biomedicines and remedies. These are things that probably you hadn't thought of that we cover, and a lot more on the Get Safe Online website. Buying and selling vehicles, buying tickets online, downloading and file sharing, job hunting, the number of scams that are out there with muling that's going on, gambling, price comparison websites, renting property, transferring money, and there's a multitude of others that you can pick from, but it gives you a starting point. And what we're hopefully going to have is some notes that are related to them as well that you can pick up, and we're hoping to build that question and answer thing on the avatar, so if you've got questions, you might be able to ask them there. These are some fundamentals that we think everybody should do and should take away. So at the end of any presentation, this is what I'd like people to sort of finish with in what they're doing. We've got other things that'll help you in relation to what we're doing. If you go onto the website, you'll see the online code of conduct that's there as well. So there are 10 pointers, and they're very basic pointers, and they follow a lot the messages that come out from commercial companies that were issued by the government about a year ago for business. And they follow that sort of line, so you can use that one. We've got a superhighway code that we've launched as well. That can be downloaded. It's a booklet that covers everything that we're looking to do. There's the parent campaign, which is ongoing and running at the moment, where parents can come in and sign up to a newsletter, which they can get periodically. We're not looking to send stuff out to people every day, every week, even every month, because people get fed up of it. But just the basic knowledge so they can be aware of what they're looking to do. The key messages for me and for you and for anyone else who picks this up are these. This is ingrained, certainly for me, and ingrained in all the team within Get Safe Online, and I've told them all they've got to have this above their desk when they're working every day. We need to tick all these boxes when we do everything. And to be honest, BCS needs to do the same thing. And I think one of the things that was being picked up, and this has been around for a little bit of a while, but certainly Cyber Street have picked up as well, that they need to have all this. It needs to be all of those, and I'm not going to go through them all because it's important to us. Integrity is important to me, making sure that we deliver, but making sure we get people online at all ages, all groups, all people. And you can be an expert about computers, doesn't necessarily make you an expert about security on computers. But with a good starting base, you are going to be my ambassadors to go out there. You're going to be the people that can go out and pass that word on. What we call you, we might never come up with a word, or we might decide that you're going to be, you are going to be ambassadors. You're going to be whatever really you want to be. We want to be here to support you. We've got these leaflets printed ready to go. The PowerPoint and the presentation is ready. The animation is nearly ready, but the quiz is there, the posters are there. What we're going to be looking for you to do is to sign up and pass the message on. We think this is a great opportunity for us who've got all these tools to pass it out and to get foot soldiers on the street passing on this message. I hope you find that useful. I think I'm really passionate about this and I'm really enthusiastic, and I know John is the same. So hopefully this will be very good.